Would you like to know more about PICQS APC from the lens of an assessor and mentor? Join your hosts AJ Paredes and Anthea Valdez as they give you the exclusive interview with PICQS Global Committee Head, Mr. Paul Anderson Vera. He will share with us not just what assessors and mentors do through the process, but also his own APC journey. All these and more on Saturday, 16th March, 3 p.m. Manila time. See you!
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone. I'm Arlene Joy Paredes, or AJ, current National Secretary and Board of Trustee of PICQS, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you on our 14th session of PATCH. PICQS APC Talks channel, or PATCH, is here to provide overviews about chartered and certified professionals' APC journey, PICQS structured trainings, and every quantity surveyor's road to becoming QS professionals to maximize their career potential. It is Saturday evening here in Auckland, and I look forward to this patch session as our featured guest from Dubai will be sharing not just about his own APC journey, but the roles of a mentor and assessor in the assessment of professional competence or APC process. But before we get to that part, let me call in my partner for this patch session, who is currently one of the chapter presidents of PICQS, leading PICQS Singapore. Let's all welcome Engineer Anthea Valdez. Hi, Anthea. Welcome, and thank you very much for joining me this evening. Oh, hold on. I think you're on mute. Hey. Let's do it again.
Hello.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Take 3. Hi, AJ. Thanks for welcoming me in our patch session 14. And hi, everyone. And thank you for tuning in to our 14th session of patch. And I'm excited, as always, for this past session, patch with our organization, Philippine Institute of Certified Quantity Surveyors, PICQS. For those who are not so familiar with PICQS, Philippine Institute of Certified Quantity Surveyors is an all-Filipino QS organization with a global reach. This year, turning 13, PICQS has formed 10 chapters around the globe in Philippines, UK, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, North America, Singapore, and for APAC chapter, we have members residing in New Zealand, Australia, Brunei, Indonesia, and Cambodia. To patch up the needs and raise the value of the profession, PICQS offers structured trainings from level 1 to level 3 and conducts its own APC. With the level of training received by our members through structured trainings and CPDs, PICQS was recognized by other professional bodies where mutual recognition agreements are in play. So whenever you are in the world, membership grade can be recognized by other professional bodies like the RICS, AIQS, NZIQS, and CIQS, to name a few.
Yes, thanks, Atea. And as we speak, there are a number of ongoing trainings being delivered by PICQS. So we have the Test the Micro-Credential course, which has just completed their 13th session, the Higher National Certificate, or HNC, in Quantity Surveying by PICQS Academy, which has completed their week 7, to name a few. And of course, we have the Level 1 Structured Training, the Think Tank Training, or P3T, which kickstarted both in Asia Pacific and Middle East. So congratulations in advance to the participants as you continue to challenge and invest in your respective selves. I'll be seeing you tomorrow for cost reporting in P3T.
Awesome. And speaking of trainings, let us congratulate the PICQS Philippine chapter on the successful hybrid event, What a Quantity Surveyor is Not, attended by around 400 participants both in person and online. Grateful to our speakers, Philippine chapter incumbent president, Engineer Diane May Boson, past PICQS National President, Engineer Jessica Gandia, and past PICQS National President, Engineer Darnell Perez.
Wow, congratulations, PICQS, and of course, to our Philippine chapter headed by Engineer Diane May Bauzon. Great to see the resumption of the face-to-face CPDs across the globe. So now, let us introduce our featured guest for this afternoon. So he is a chartered surveyor of Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, or RICS, an associate member of the Chartered Management Institute, or CMI, and Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, or CR. He acquired his postgraduate diploma in surveying at the University of Reading through the College Estate Management, his MBA in Construction and Real Estate with Merit from University College of Estate Management, or ECEM, and currently taking Master of Laws, LLM Construction Law and Arbitration. He is a geothermal engineer from Bicol University. He is also currently the head of contracts management for international region of CB&I and an active volunteer of the Philippine Institute of Certified Quantity Surveyors, serving as the current preparation for assessment of professional competence 2 or PAC2 Global Committee Head, PICQS APC Assessor and Mentor. So let us all welcome Mr. Paul Anderson Vera. Ayan.
Welcome,
Hi,
Sir
Paul, and
Paul.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Antea, for the warm welcome. It's a pleasure to be here with you on your 14th session for Patch. And I think it's a good evening to you there, AJ. Good afternoon to you, Antea, and to my fellow watchers or fellow people here in the Middle East. Still good morning. So thank you.
yes, good morning in Dubai. And so thank you very much for accepting our invitation to become our 14th victim or 14th Patch interviewee. Thank you very much. It's really an honor to have you here in Patch. And how is the weather there now in Dubai?
Well, it's for the last week. I wasn't here, but they were saying it was rainy. But right now, it's
Mhm.
still having some cool breeze, but I think it's starting to move to the summer season. So you will see the increase in the temperature, but it's still comfortable and tolerable, not like during summers.
Oh, I see. How about there, Antea, in
Okay, it's
Singapore?
scorching hot. The weather was
Oh,
like a bit hot this time, but sometimes it like rains in the evening, like it's like thunderstorm and all. So, but still okay,
Mhm.
manageable.
Okay, as we tackle PAP 2 in this patch session, I would like to ask, how did you guys meet? I mean, Antea and Paul, because I think for us, Paul, it's really nice to see you again this time online after we've met in the QS Summit last October.
Yes. So yeah, actually that's the first time that I met you, AJ, during the QS summit, and yeah, pleasure to see you again here. And with Antea, I think Antea, we met during the up to
Exemption, yeah.
sessions that you have, right? So you were the first time was during your exemption interview for you to be able to proceed with
To
PAP
join
two,
the
and then
POP 2,
yeah,
yes. I
and
remember when you interviewed me.
so I don't think I was
That's
so hard
nice.
to interview. So it's good to see you succeed with your APC, and now you're chartered and certified QS.
Yes. And you are one of those people who have really helped me a lot, supported me in my journey, both in PICQS and until I decided to pursue RICS.
It's always a
Wow.
pleasure to
So
serve.
that's a testimonial.
Yes,
That's a
it is.
testimonial over there. Okay.
Okay,
So
nominate me
are
for
you
the of the year.
yes,
Uh,
definitely. Okay. You've
okay.
heard that. Okay. You
Joking.
definitely earned like an award for being
Yes.
um for being in service to PICQS. By the way, how long have you been volunteering to PICQS?
If memory serves me right, so I think I got really engaged with volunteering in PICQS when I finished my, or when I got successful with my APC with RICS. So I think that was around 2019. So a way for me to
Mhm.
pay it forward is to uh, dedicate my time, some of my time to the different programs of PICQS. I think from that time on, I was given the role of the head for PAP2, and until now, I'm still the head of PAP2, and we're trying to do our best to improve our training structure, to to improve the way we deliver the training so that our participants are successful in their APC journey. So it's been a while, and I'm still enjoying it. It's just, you just need to balance the time and your priorities.
5 years, no, and counting. That's dedication, and the pay it forward is really something that we are very grateful amongst. You're one of those volunteers who have been continuously delivering and rendering service to our fellow members towards the success of their APC. And now that PICQS APC has been like a continuous schedule for our members to partake in. And later on, you will see a presentation from our featured guest, Mr. Paul Vera, on what is PAP2, in general. Okay, so I think we can kickstart with the question and answer portion. So, and then later you will be also presenting your own case study way back. That was
Right.
12 years ago? Wow. Okay, so
12
that's something
years.
to look forward to. Okay, so
Sure.
now for our first question. Um, okay, let's have, in your opinion, how important is the assessment of professional competence or APC in the QS profession?
Okay, so the APC process for me is one of the most important and probably the toughest process one will experience in his career in the QS profession. So yeah, this is important because it ensures that the candidate must meet the required competencies and high standards imposed by the professional organization before they can be considered certified or chartered. So if I say, yeah,
Mhm.
toughest maybe, that is probably because the preparation time really is long, and the assessment requires demonstration of competence. Meaning it's not a simple saying to say that I know this, I know that. It's just to really
Mhm.
demonstrate that competency that you have experienced or you have learned in your career through submission of case studies and statement of experience.
And of course, these submissions will be reviewed, and then we'll go through a lengthy process of scrutinizing these the submissions, and then your SOE, you should be able to demonstrate the competencies based on how you've experienced them in your profession, in the practice of the profession. So yeah,
Mhm.
but so having a geothermal engineering background, so what
Mm.
moved you to pass or to have this APC?
Well, it's funny with how I got into this role or how I ended up as a QS or in this profession. So geothermal engineer is a little different from or a little distant from quantity surveying role. So when I graduated, I got the chance to work abroad immediately after graduation, a month after, in Qatar. And the role that was given to me was for a QS role. And with that, I have no prior knowledge. I have no idea what quantity surveying is. So I was just asked by my manager supervisor to say to start counting quantities from the drawings. So it's like, okay, just count the number of lighting fixtures, measure the cable trays, uh, which is a little bit fun thing to do. You go through the drawings, and I think from there it it progress into, because once you start counting the quantities, you have to discuss it with your subcontractor. And I was working for a contractor, so it was on the final remeasurement stage, and then the discussion, the argument starts like, no, this is not in line with the preambles, no, it's not in line with the method of measurement. So that engagement, that let's say interaction, arguing with each other, trying to present your case, may be more interested with this profession.
That's nice. Okay, so that certain encounter with your subcontractor gave you like an
Mhm.
that's going to be your passion. Is that the light
Yeah,
bulb that strike there?
it actually,
I
it
want
started
to.
with that, and then with my engagement. So how it led to knowing PICQS or RICS is, during one of the meeting, one of their senior core contracts guy, quantity surveying manager, I don't know what the role that was, but he was giving out his calling card, his business card. And I saw in his name the post-nominal FRICS and
Mm.
probably some other post-nominals. And I was curious, what is FRICS? So I'm a very curious person, so I, internet search it, and then I realized that there is actually an organization that is governing, that is really intended, or it's for quantity surveying. And not only quantity surveying, there are also other, multifaceted sub specialization that RACS is offering. So that, again, another, is like slowly pulling me towards the profession. And then I think later, when I start looking for organizations, then I found out PICQS.
Oh, so
What
you
after you have found PICS, that was, well, 2018, 2017.
It's, I'm not sure, probably even 17, 16. It was when I was in Kazakhstan, and they don't have,
Oh.
we don't have a chapter there. So I communicated.
Mhm.
I first met, I think, Mom Julie. When I
Mhm.
met Mom Julie, I saw the Julie de la Cruz, and then at the end of, it's like numerous post-nominals. So I was telling myself,
Uh-huh.
I will also have those post-nominals. That, so Mom Julie,
Okay.
thank you for inspiring me. And if you're listening, now I've got some of those post-nominals, MRICS. Now you're, so hello. So you got the postgraduate diploma. I think you're also with USEM, MBA, all these things. It needs someone. I think, to relay my experience, you need someone to inspire you to reach those goals. So it's not just you suddenly wanting, but I think if there is someone
Mhm.
that you look after, that also helps you get motivated into pursuing such career. So I think that is, in a nutshell, will be the reason how I ended up from geothermal engineering to this quantity surveying and commercial profession.
Oh, really? So
Commercial
your
management.
curiosity, the curiosity of Sir Paul really led to something fruitful. Fruitful. I mean, it's just that like he was able to complete all of this, like the MBA, the post degree. He also met people, expand his network as well. And now part of the organization, one of the passionate, uh supporters of like PICQS, especially here in APC, right?
Hmm.
Yes, and then we will know more about the POP 2 later on, because I think
Yes.
what fueled after your it triggered your interest in having your own or acquiring your own APC, acquiring these post nominals, which by the way is not just letters, because they demonstrate or they represent the certification that you have, which is a proof that you are competent enough to be called a chartered or certified professional. So at the time when you joined PICQS, I understand that we don't have our own APC yet. But of course, the standards of the structured trainings, we are teaching it by how it is streamlined from RACS structured trainings. So how did you choose your case study or how did you go through your own your APC journey?
Okay, so my APHC journey started with, I know with PICQS at that time, we've got structured training already established, P3T, PAP1 camp. And when I joined PICQS, I already started my USEM postgraduate diploma for surveying. With that, there was some exemption, so I was able to go straight to the mock interview. So still, I benefited from one of the structured training, which is the mock interview, and they cleared me. So they with some with some advice, suggestions, recommendations, and with that, I continued with my APC application with RICS. During that time, the APC was done on a face-to-face setting, completely different from for the what is happening for the past few years, probably because of COVID. It was at Sofitel Dubai, and again, I think comparing my experience, sharing it to everyone, is that the having a panel on a face-to-face setting in front of you can be more intimidating as compared to online interviews, considering that you would see their body language, you would see their face suddenly change, their expression, and sometimes you would think to yourself, "Oh, did I give the wrong answer?" Or maybe they're just trying to uh, make you feel or trying to, I don't know, maybe there's no intent to intimidate, but it's just me feeling I'm intimidated. And then yeah, I think regardless, there's still commonalities between an online setting, and I think if you compare, still the preparation would be pretty much the same.
After going through all these process, by the way, later you'll be able to see the case study that Paul presented face to face to his
Yeah.
assessors. No, but after the whole journey of APC and the interview and passing it, do you think that everything is just worth it?
Yeah, definitely. So the it's a rewarding feeling that after you finish all the efforts you made, like for example, mine is it started even with completing my postgraduate diploma because it's a requirement, a QS degree to be considered as in one of the different pathways in RACS. So it is a long task. You need to be persistent. You need to be patient, and then after finishing the interview, um, the feeling is just great. But let me just add one thing. I think everybody here, you guys also experience that after the interview, the waiting time is the most
Mhm.
difficult part to receive, whether it's a pass or a referred. So I also experienced that like a week or more than a week to wait whether I pass. So a lot of things comes into my mind, and when you receive that, it's like you know some people would have tears of joy just to say, "Oh, I
Mhm.
pass it," and then the benefits just comes as you continue with your career.
Great to
I think all
hear.
of us can relate about it, about the waiting time.
Yeah, I think everyone can relate to that. The anxiety, trying to find out your
Yes.
result. So
It's really nice. So that's just an overview, guys, of what happened in and how
Mhm.
Paul's journey in his own APC. Later, you'll be seeing his own case study. But then we move back to being an APC, our APC assessor, mentor, and being the head of the global committee of PAP2. Anthea?
Yes. So, okay, like you mentioned earlier that the first thing before we don't have the PICQS APC yet, so you have to undergo the RICS APC interview instead. So, what could you share for like key things to remember when you sit for an APC interview?
Okay, let me see. I'm just pulling this based on my experience. There are a lot of things also that other fellow chartered certified members can offer. But I think for me, first is to be successful in your interview or your the process is to be familiar with your case study and statement of experience. That is really important because the questions that the assessors will be giving or will be throwing at you are all coming from your own writing. So if you're not familiar with what you've written in your case study and statement of experience, then you are in trouble. That is just showing that you probably did not do the thing, or you're making up something in your statement. So be familiar, be completely honest with what you are writing there. So that's the first one. Second one would be get as much mock interviews as you can. I've success stories that I've heard, people are they've done 20, 15, and with that number of mock interviews, it offers you a more diverse feedback from assessors in different field of expertise. So, for example, if I mock, usually people that I did mock interviews, they would comment that I am mostly focusing on case studies. I like to challenge candidates on what they have written in the case study. I want that their case study be solid and that they are able to answer questions. Sometimes my questions are, a little bit outside the box, but still relevant. So in my opinion, case studies plays one of the biggest role in the success, because if you impress the assessor with your case study itself, and during the first critical 10 minutes, 5 minutes of your interview, you're able to build your rapport. You're able to impress the assessor. You are already going through a good start, and that might most likely end up well. Let's see. Third, I think find time to relax before your interview. And maybe lastly, just practice. Keep practicing in front of the mirror, record yourself, rehearsing the presentation, and that will help you realize, mannerisms, movement, etc.
Mhm. Yes. Just can you share during your interview? I believe that is like face to face back then,
Correct.
right? Yes. Where did you like how did you feel during your interview? Like I know it's different. I never experienced an in person interview with my EPC. Can you share us how have you felt during the interview, or also where is it like you have to go to a hotel to conduct
Mm.
an interview?
Yeah. So my interview was done in Sofitel here in Dubai, and it was a panel of three assessors. So again, my pathway that I have chosen for RICS is not quantity surveying and construction, but in the infrastructure, considering my field of my industry is more on the oil and gas energy sector. So they they got different um, assessors for different specialization. Uh, my assessors were all, let's say, of different nationalities. It's a combination, I think, of Indian and Pakistani members of the RICS. It's very much like what I was saying, a little bit intimidating, but they try their best to comfort you at the start of the meeting or the interview, trying to say, "How are you? Hello, blah, blah, blah." And then once it starts, it's just like continuously running. They keep on throwing questions at you, questions, and you just have to answer. You need to be quick with, you need to understand the question and answer them, with the proper response. So listening is important. And another thing there is, I think that the biggest difference with face to face and online is that online you have your PowerPoint presentation. With I think mine was the last batch. I'm not sure, but probably one of the few last batches where we have face to face, and I had to use a flipboard. So it's an interesting way to present yourself. I think that the flipboard also that I use. Thank you to shouting out to Sir John Chavez. Thank you for letting me use your flipboard. Maybe that is also a lucky charm that helped me pass the IAPC. I heard stories about your flipboard having success with other people borrowing it. So thank you. And yeah, I don't know how it will progress in the future, if it will remain face to face or online. But for me, I still cherish and enjoy the experience, the way I delivered it in front of people physically in front of me.
Yes, it's totally different. I might be shaking while I'm holding the flipboard if I will on that at that moment, I guess. So, since you've already experienced RICS personally, and then you've been engaged in participating with PICQS structured training, the APC as well. So, how do you think is PICQS APC tailored with RICS APC or tailored like RICS APC?
Well, I think there is a lot of similarities with the APC, between RICS and PICQS. There's probably a little bit of difference in the names of the competencies, but in principle, it's the same. The concept are the same.
Mm-hmm.
We combined measurement, procurement tendering, but at the end of the day, regardless whether you do PICQS, you do RICS, AIQS, or any other professional body for quantity surveying, the competencies will be the same. It's just how you frame it. The the other probably differences are procedural differences, where the the PICQS have different time allocation for presentation of case studies compared to RICS. But we are pretty much trying to, have uniformity, or even a little more stringent than RICS. I think, I know we are working with RICS to have our mutual recognition for. So that is essential to have our APC process aligned or accredited, or recognized by RICS. So there will be, in my opinion, similarities, and based on feedback from other candidates who did PICQS and RICS, it was easy for them to transition from their submission for PICQS and then
Mm-hmm.
submission for RICS. So I think there is similarity. There's being tailor fit, almost close to one another.
And having said this, that now we are like focusing with our basically has continue to enhance and improve our structured trainings so that we could have a better support and guidance to our candidates. So, how a common question by our those like interested to pursue APC, how long usually it takes for you to prepare before you actually go to your final interview? Or like in similarity with RICs, like you've said.
So sorry, how long is?
How long will you have to prepare the
Oh,
preparation, period for you?
well, it depends on people. So if you're if you finish your MBA, not MBA, your your MSc in quantity surveying, you've got good background, good foundation on quantity surveying, and you have practiced most of the competencies. I think that's a good start, and you
Mhm.
just have to process, continue. Again, with PICQS, we recommend that you go through the structured training process, even though you already have those. But if you think you are capable to, or more than able to pass that structured training level, you can opt for exemptions. But um, if you consider yourself almost ready to do the interview, do the final assessment, probably the 6 months period of being or of having your statement of experience and case study ready, that 6 months gap from application in RACS is good enough. I think that's the reason why they have that gap established, so that you have enough time to just rehearse and be familiar with your submission. So, but the other thing is, if you are, or what I can just say is, it's not really good also to rush. I know there's the pressure, people wanted to, I want to have that
Mhm.
post nominal, I want to have that status. But if you try to rush it, and even though you honestly think you're not prepared, I would strongly recommend to, reconsider moving ahead, because it will just be wasting your time. It's better to be 100% sure, or you need to be fully confident with yourself that you can continue with the interview. That is, I think, with time frames, that would require a little more preparation time.
Awesome. Thank you, Sir Paul, for sharing your experience on your RUCS and also RUCS journey, and then also being part of the PICQS. Maybe AJ, you could like lead us about the Mentors League.
Yes. So actually for this being an assessor and mentor at the same time, what do you think are the major benefits of PICQS APC to its members?
Okay, seeing it as an assessor and a mentor, um, completing the PICQS APC, I think it will bring loads of benefits to our members. So first, PICQS is finishing that successfully. There is the recognition that the member is certified, or is chartered to be, it's like a validation that you are competent, that you can be relied upon for advice on QS commercial matters by your employer or by your client. So having that designation, or having that certification or chartership, is really a one or a few level notch up your career. You can be considered as an expert. Again, for me, it's an expert. Some other people who have different definition, but for me, you're a subject matter expert when it comes to, being certified or chartered. I think the second or another benefit that is there is that your employability will improve for sure. Let me share to you, or to the viewers that is listening right now. In the last PICQS summit here in Dubai, I think you, AJ, was also here. There's one key takeaway that I have in one of the sessions, that is pretty much related to the question on what are the benefits of, having the APC, PICQS APC completed. I think that person was one of the PCA, Philippine Construction's representative. I think it's
So yeah,
Mr. Mariano,
yeah.
where he was
Anthony
sharing
Mariano.
a story that there was one company or one client or subcontractor boasting that, oh, we got QS in our team. It's like they're so proud that there's QS in the team. I know Philippine industry starting to recognize the profession, but he gave them a challenge saying that, okay, so is your QS a member of PICQS? So that recognition, that line that he delivered during the summit made me, happy, made me so proud of PICQS that
Mhm.
organizations in the Philippines are valuing your membership, are valuing your position or your recognition in PICQS. Imagine, it's not to belittle the other QS that are not members, but they require those that are validated, certified, that are, truly passed through the rigorous challenges and scrutiny of the APC process. And with that, if I was the employer or if I was the other person and I have the person for PSQS, I will proudly say, yes, my guy is from PICQS and he is a chartered or he's a certified member and he can deliver whatever you are expecting of a QS. So that's, I think, the second part, that the employability is very important. If that continues in the future, I would suggest people working or Filipinos working as a QS to, actively or to explore the option of joining our PICQS organization.
Definitely agree with you 100%. And it's not just joining or being member of PICQS. It's
Mhm.
going through the structured training that we have
Correct.
prepared for our members. Because being a member it doesn't stop there. The reason why you become a member is because all of us have this certain goal, which is to become certified or chartered professionals, to be consistently competent and to be consistently aware of the happening or how you're going to execute or practice the profession. So thank you very much for highlighting that. It goes to show that the post nominals that we have or that we gain are not just mere letters, but this is a
Yeah,
representation of what we can deliver to any organization that we join. So thank you.
correct.
Okay. So I think, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying I completely agree with what you just said, AJ.
Okay. And to top it all off, actually, the icing on the cake is that as PACQS as a professional body, we have numerous memorandum of understandings or MOAs being executed across different organizations. To name, we have RACS, AIQS, NZIQS, and CIQS. So wherever, whichever part of the globe you're in, whether you're in Canada or in Australia or in New Zealand or anywhere in the world, if you want to have your MPICQS get certified or get accredited, you have this mutual understanding or mutual agreement that they can also be applied and they are recognized. So yes. Okay, so I think with that, our viewers are more interested, are getting even more interested to see what PICQS or what PAP2 is all about. So I think in this note, we can share our guidelines or give them a brief overview of how PAP2 functions.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So these guys
Okay.
are just a brief overview of PAP2 training guideline. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Thank you, AJ. Um, yeah, this is, brief guidelines. So we just to introduce what PAP2 is. So here it's a 16-week intensive training program aimed to preparing enrolled members for their final assessment for their APC submission and interview. Um, Sometimes, depending on the schedule, the 16-week, we can adjust that. And we are probably increasing the duration per session. But ideally, we are running it on a 16-week training program.
Mm.
So it is divided into two phases of training. The first one is what we call, a training session phase, where uh, we have candidates or participants do a quick presentation. Every session we have an allocated topic competency that is based on our PICQS competencies. So we schedule those competencies with mandatory and core, and there will be a presentation or a reporting type of um, preparation by the selected candidate. And after that presentation, there will be a quick Q&A. So it's a very much interactive training session for this phase one. So there will be the opportunity for the candidate to demonstrate their knowledge and competencies, and at the same time develop their presentation and communication skills. And then also it will foster quick analytical thinking, um, especially during the question and answer after the presentation. And then following the is the longest period, which is the training phase. So following this period, we go to the second stage, or it's more of like culminating activity where we have the grand mock phase. So the grand mock is replicating the the actual final interview that you will be having with PICQS or RICS. So you will be coming into the meeting with your best dress, with your presentation, and there will be mock assessors that will be assigned to you, uh, completely simulating the environment process, everything during the final interview. So it will give you a taste, a feel of what it will be during that final interview that you will be having. So that's the and then after that there will also be feedback being provided to you so that you can improve or you can work on several let's say weaknesses or points for improvement. So that's how we do the high level of what is PAP2. Okay, next one. You have questions, Asia, or you just feel free to interrupt and let me know. Okay.
This is how Anthea experienced it.
Correct.
Yes.
Antea was one of I think the first time I was heading PAP2, Antea was on that batch. So she probably can add in later on her own experience as well. So, okay.
Yes.
Okay, for this next slide, we got emphasis and objectives in PAP2. So we got the structured training already addressing level 1, level 2, and level 3 knowledge. So that is really for developing your competencies, your required experience. What we are focusing here in PAP2 is a little more on the soft skills of candidates. So we are expecting that candidates enrolled in PAP2 are already qualified or already have
Mm.
already finished the previous structured training. In special cases, we accept exemptions as long as they meet the requirement. But this is something important that I would like to emphasize right now, that if you are willing or sorry, if you are interested to enroll in PAP2, you would be filtered, you would be subject to screening, because that is for us also to make sure that the success rate, and then that you are ready actually
Mhm.
to take PAP2. Because if you try to force and be immediately jumping or skipping some steps, uh, I'm not saying that you will fail, but I cannot guarantee. There is the objective there is to focus on soft skills. So if you are lacking on your technical skills or core skills, mandatory skills, mandatory competencies, this is not the training for addressing that. So going back to PAP2, I was explaining that this is more of soft skills.
Mhm.
People, or let's say we Filipinos, are very much knowledgeable. We are good with what we do. We are dependable. We know things. We we, we notice, or it is common for us to shy away when we are facing other people, when we are being subjected to something like being interrogated, being asked. Sometimes, or more often than not, we tend to be shy, timid, and just say yes, no, without really expressing ourselves. So we struggle. We see that there's a lot of us struggling how to present ourselves, how to deliver that, how to communicate what we know. So that is something that PAP2 would like to address. Being able to explain what you know, being able to be critical, being able to be concise and effective and efficient in your delivery. So here we got three main objectives. One is your presentation skills, which is we want to develop your ability to prepare an effective presentation because your assessment will require a case study presentation. So what we will comment on your presentation, will give you tips, will help you out with that, together with your assigned mentor, of course. Then we need to practice or we need to improve your speaking skills, your delivery, how you deliver, how you speak. You know, some would have a lot of pillars like people will have So we would comment on that. We would try to, we will help to improve that, and at the same time, also improving your delivery to be spontaneous, concise. It should be well structured and accurate. So that those are the key elements that the assessor are looking at, because some people know a lot, some people talk a lot also. So we would like to address that you need to limit your response. If you talk too
Mhm.
much, you might end up having uh, opening or exposing yourself to a lot of other questions. So being strategic and tactical on your delivery, we are practicing that. So next is also listening. We added this actually recently, and it is one of our lessons learned. We we I think for the first batch, we did not really emphasize on this, but later we found out that um, when when you are responding to a question, you need to respond to what is being
Mhm.
asked. More often, we would see candidate throwing random answers. When you ask about method of measurement, I'm asking about something specific and they're giving general responses. So we learned from that, and we are focusing on listening skills. And one of the improvement is actually, we before we are presenting in our sessions the questions, we are flashing it on the screen. We tend to avoid that now, so that the trainer will deliver the question, and then the participants need to listen carefully on what is being asked. So, because if you just flash the question, they will read it, and their listening skills will not be, it will not be trained. That's why failure to understand the interviewer or the question can lead to wrong response, which can give a wrong impression that you do not know the answer. So that is one of the biggest, let's say, lessons that we've seen in the past few programs, sessions or banners. So yes, these are the objectives that we are focusing. Of course, we are not. Um, we still do a little bit of reminders on the technical knowledge, on the basic competencies, but this is what we really want to improve in PAP2.
Mhm.
It's,
Yes,
this
and
is this is a very you have to practice like how to be concise
Mhm.
because your timing is very limited in doing the presentation. I can see an acronym normally when I want to digest the slides that I see in front of me. Tend to do some acronyms, and here I can see PLS, or the short form of please. So
Mhm.
when we when we do PAP 2, I think we need to do please, like to present, to listen, and to speak. So this
Mhm.
is getting even more, interesting. So I think our viewers would couldn't agree more. Here we have Marvin who's saying, "Well said, Sir Paul, for your advice on not rushing on APC, but better to be prepared." I guess I could relate.
Hmm.
There you go, Paul. So just a
That's complete.
quick run through on what we're having online, because we have a number of viewers who are giving their comments. Thank you
Okay.
very much. And to give you this presentation is actually recorded. You can go back to the Facebook page and also
Mhm.
our YouTube page, Patch with PICQS, so you can run through and rerun through and also do start on your practicing part. Yeah, on your
Hmm.
presentations. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Well, okay, here.
Okay. So this is just an idea of what we will expect when you go through the assessment. Before, we don't have actually grading system in this, because how can you grade someone that is, you know, how can you assess someone that is a good speaker or not? There is nothing to put as grades. This is not IELTS. This is not, TOEFL or whatever. So we agreed to establish some criteria for assessment, which is more of a subjective one, which is divided into three. Originally, we only have pass and deferred, but if you we find it necessary to have a midline conditional pass to allow those that still can do a little bit of improvement on what they are deficient with, and still
Mhm.
have time to catch. People sometimes, maybe today I'm not really having a good day, and I messed up my interview or my grandma, or I did not do well in the first stage because I was so busy at work. And that should not be a reason to stop the candidate. So I'll just move a little bit away from this. It's also something that I want to highlight, that one of the challenges with PAP2 is, um, let me say, about timing. Right now, AJ,
Mhm.
you're in New Zealand. You were probably what, evening there. Antea is same time with the Philippines. You're in Singapore, Antea, right?
Yes.
So different time zones, and also timing in the, let's say, Philippines, Saturday, Sunday is the off, while Middle East, except Dubai or UAE, we get Friday and Saturday. So the timing sometimes is critical, and the problem also is that some we only had, I think, one time that we had two sessions, two different groups to accommodate the timing, but it was very difficult. It was very challenging that we are lacking trainers to be available on that time, and then the number of attendees also sometimes is not viable enough to have an independent, separate session. So we are doing our best to combine it into one, and we also acknowledge and understand that schedules might not be best for the candidates. So for the conditional pass, that's the reason why we allow a little bit of leeway for them to catch up. So there are criteria shown here. I think it's very self-explanatory, but if you continue with PAP2, you can expect that you can either have a pass, conditional pass, deferred. Conditional pass allows you to come up with extra requirements so that you are allowed to go to the second stage, which is the Grand Mac
Mhm.
stage. So for the next slide, Antea.
Yes.
Okay.
One moment.
Yeah. So if you're successful with the phase one or the training stage, the next step will be you will have to do, before the Grand Mac, you are required to have um, informal mock interviews. So you
Mhm.
need to communicate yourself. The assessors will not come to you and say, hey, Antea, book me. It is the responsibility of the candidates to contact and coordinate with our members, with our chartered members, certified members, to conduct mock interviews. It's a requirement for them to have at least, I think, 10 hours of mock interviews before they can do the grand mock assessment. So here it is, as I explained earlier, it is simulating the real APC interview. So we also have different categories on assessment, same pass, conditional pass, and deferred. So the pass is immediately they can be recommended to continue with the interview. Conditional pass is there will be a requirement of a sign off from the counselor that the deficiencies being addressed or being commented by the mock assessors needs to be satisfied. But the deferred is they are not deemed ready. So they are, it's recommended to consider that they have more time to do the interview and they can retake the training sessions next intake. It's not mandatory. If they want to refresh it, they can do it, but it is a requirement to do the mock interview again. I think this is if the candidate really wants to proceed against advice or against this, rating, we are not preventing them to do that, but it is at their own risk to proceed with the interview. And again, ultimately, we are not guaranteeing that if you go through PUP2, you will have a guaranteed yes. So this is a training session or a training start training, and you need to absorb as much as you can with this to use it as your tool to succeed. So that is how we do the assessment of for grandma. Okay.
So it's like after you've done the grand mock, you're almost ready that you have
Yes.
attained or you have almost attained the certified professional status of PICQS.
You just have to pass the
You've been
final interview.
filtered.
Yes. So
I see.
it gives you a like
Hey.
a gauge, like a litmus paper for you to see whether you are actually ready or not, and
Mhm.
that gives you an indication. Okay.
Batch
So
two, batch 2023, two.
yeah.
Oh.
So this is up to batch 2023. Just sharing some pictures. You see, it's fun. Everybody is smiling. So um, those those are those are training sessions. So you see Ma'am Noemi there. Uh, Again, shout out to Ma'am Noemi for being always supportive, always there. I think she's always ready to call for the call to support us in the training. We got also Ma'am Yvonne, and we got diverse trainees last year.
Mhm.
Um, we invited a lot of guest trainees, sorry, trainers, and I think that also gave us a little bit of the different taste of different people doing the training. Okay, next one, Antea. So the photos here are the ones taken during the Grand Mock. So you would see people at their um, best, let's say, if that's their
Mhm.
age for the best. So they would assume or they would simulate the interview. We get APC mock assessors invited, members of PICQS, RICS, and other allied related professional bodies, and that is just the final culminating activity for the PUP2 participants.
Mhm.
Okay, next one. So this is a little bit out of date, but I know and I apologize for those who are not listed here, but this is the, let's say, the team that I'm working with mostly. I've got Grace Valderrama as my, the overall head for this kind of training. She's also looking after PMLA, right? So that's the
Is Sir Butch, I think, is
yeah.
PMLA.
So me and Butch are reporting in terms of structure to Grace. Antea is there, Marvin, uh, I cannot see clearly the other names, but yeah, Ma'am Noemi, Eileen. I think this is Beth
Michelle,
and
Michelle,
Michelle. Yeah,
and
and
Arlene. Yes.
Joey has been with us for quite some time.
Mm.
Joey, I think you're listening. Thank you so much for all the time and effort you've been giving to
Yes.
PICQS as well. We're waiting for you to be one of the also trainers here, and we got Emmeline. So I think Antea being here on the top of the trainers, maybe you will be my successor.
Okay, I
So
don't know
no,
how to answer that, Sir Paul.
sorry, putting you on a tight spot here, but yeah, I've been doing the PAP 2 program for like 4 years now. So I think it's also as much as I love PAP 2, but I think it's also good to allow other people to have the opportunity to serve. So maybe I'll consider a different role, but of course, we are training people to be the next who we are. So
But
again,
it's always
thank
a
you.
pleasure.
So
Thank you for considering. Always a pleasure to be in support to those like are aspiring, just like me. I was once an aspiring candidate, so it's always like a pleasure to be a support to them.
Mhm. Well, I think to add on to this, I would be calling to everyone who's listening or watching this, if you're, especially those who've already finished this and are certified members or chartered members, that we are really open to invite you to be part of the PAP2 team. Your knowledge, your experience, your expertise is really needed here so that we can also improve the success rate of our participants and candidates. So we will be sending
and you can
some
accommodate.
instructions.
We're
I
Mhm.
already
think
calling
after
shout
this,
out to Miss AJ. She's already here, a candidate as one of the trainers.
Yeah, we're looking
yeah,
forward having Miss AJ to join us.
I'm hereby expressing my interest na. So this patch session is a lot of revelation, passing of batons, and then expressions of interests going on. Yeah,
Okay,
but yeah, happy to help. Yep.
so
Yeah,
thank.
happy to help.
Um, just a little bit of statistics. I know APC is difficult, so that's why I was explaining earlier that it is one probably of the most challenging, one of the toughest process that a quantity surveyor will pass, be it PICQS or ICS. And it's you would see the statistics as a little bit of a decline in the passing rate. Maybe there's a lot of other reasons behind it, but you would see that our numbers from 2021 to 2023, we are at the range of 16, 15 uh, attendees. So there is a filtering of attendees from an initial number of, for example, 15. Not all are endorsed for grandma. It's probably
Mhm.
because of their own decision, personal decision, that they think that they are not yet ready, which is being honest to yourself, and you just have to develop it further. And then there are also those that are really serious about going through the process, so they do the full process of filling up and complying with the requirements, so they are endorsed for grandma. And then after grandma, they, depending on the result, they move ahead with the final interview. So worth to highlight, during 2021 we got 4 MPICQS as product of PAP2, 26% passing rate against the 15 who initially attended. And one of those is one of the hosts here, Antea. So you're batch 2021, right?
Yes, batch two
And
of PPC.
yes, so they got 4 who passed the PICQS APC. Next batch was 2022. Again, 15 initially attended the phase one. We got a little bit more who got endorsed for the ground back, but only 3 pass the APC. And one of these three also have a dual, you know, two-time success. So it was, I think, Nieva Cayo. So she passed the PICQS, and a few months later, she also got into RICS. So congratulations
Yes.
to you, Nieva. And the passing rate there is around 20% against the 15 who initially attended. Last year, we saw a little bit of an increase in the attendees to 17. 8 got endorsed, 2 were successful in PICQS APC. A little low on the passing rate. Um, I think there's a little bit of realization and learnings there to how to improve the passing rate.
Mhm.
But that is, again, one of my earlier comment that you need to be really ready to enter or to start with POP2. I'm not saying it's the fault of completely the fault of the candidate, but it's also an eye opener for us also to improve. That's why we
Mhm.
are going to conduct more train the trainers and train the assessors so that we can fine tune, even the assessors. So not to be too harsh, sometimes we don't know that we are already, expecting too much of the candidate, even though the candidate can be already considered as satisfactorily complying or demonstrating, having the holistic way to view how we assess. We also need to do that, considering that PICQS, we just recently started our APC. So
Mhm.
assessors is just, we're starting to build the pool of assessors, and we want to
Mhm.
calibrate our assessors to be able to, effectively discharge their responsibility as, the person saying it's either a yes or a no. But also, we're trying to make sure also the candidates joining PACE PAP to be ready. So we are going to implement a little bit of filtering, or we'll have to do a selection when we do the program. Okay.
So
Thank you
don't
so
let the
much.
numbers scare you. These are just representations of how we're proceeding and how we're growing. The number of
Mhm.
APC or PAP2 passers. And of course, don't get discouraged if you get endorsement is just one thing. It's just a suggestion on how or what areas you can still improve on. And there's no stopping you. As Paul mentioned, there's no stopping you. If you still want to proceed, you can. There's a certain risk, but I think it's all up to you. No, it's all up to the person
Sure.
or the member pursuing this one. You know when
Well,
you're ready.
just to add
Yes.
something on that, AJ, if you can go
Yeah.
back to the previous slide,
Oh yeah, sure.
so the passing rate is taken against the initial attendees. So you need to
Yeah.
understand
Yes.
that the not all of these 17 actually move ahead with
Mm-hmm.
the
With the
maybe out
grad
of,
bump. Mhm.
yes. So it's probably a little bit confusing for me to add that passing rate, but I just want to highlight the something as a statistics there. I probably would need to dig into more information and see how many actually ended up applying for APC, and how many of those did POP2, and how many passed or got referred. So that would provide a better statistics.
Mhm.
That would be my assignment when we do further, and probably in the next programs of PACQS or reports, you would see that. So please, with what AJ said, don't be scared with the numbers.
Mhm.
There's a lot of story behind it, and I don't
Yes.
think we have the time to, scrutinize the number and give you full details of this. Okay.
And also, Sir Paul, that's why we have this structured trainings, right? And the Mentors League as well. So everyone's here to support you if you are scared of the numbers that you're seeing right now. So
Yeah.
that's why we have your mentor, you have your mock assessors there to, guide you, help you study your, scrutinize your case study, critically
Mm.
analyze your SOE and your any write-ups. So don't be scared. That's why PSQS is here to help you progress in your career and achieve your chartership, or being a certified QS. Just to ask Sir Paul before we move on,
Sure.
since you're already seeing these statistics, right, and some decline in our passing rates, is there any other further plans that the PAP2 in coming years will be
Hmm.
able to, will be able to share, or offer to the candidates? Will there be any other, like maybe two sessions every year, like P3T now?
Okay, so to answer your question, Antea, unlike P3T and the other uh, training, structured training programs that we have, PUP2 is more of a terminal program, meaning one of the last program that we conduct. And it's the candidates or the participants are not as many as from PUP 3 going forward. So
Mhm.
we will observe that from PUP P3T going as they move through the structure, the number of successful participants are going down. They're filtered. So maybe in P3T, how many? I don't know how many participants you have. It's probably more than 50 or in that range. But for PUP2, as you can see, it's around 15, 17. We are in that small group. We've
Mhm.
done before two separate sessions to address the time zone difference, but it was a struggle. And remember that PUP2 is dependent, it's like scheduling. Our
Mhm.
predecessor is GAMP. So we are dependent on GAMP. So
Yes.
participants, members who were successful in GAMP will progress to PUP2. And then PUP2 is also the successor of PUP2 in our program is the APC itself. Plus PMLA is in parallel. So I cannot definitely say now that there will be two sessions for PUP2. We need to see the viability on how many are participating. Uh, but I think for this year and the next, for sure there will be one. And I've got the schedule here, and what we can add in response to the statistics that I've just shown you is that we are modifying a little bit of the program to add more emphasis on the trainers, and then a session or training and workshop sessions for the mock assessors, plus probably an additional session with the uh, training stage of the participants to have more on how to present their case study, more of a lecture type, not the interactive one. We've been doing that, but I think a little more emphasis on that. Last time I have a quick discussion or quick chat with JC. He's also willing to support us in having that kind of session. So as we plan along, we'll get that improvements in the.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Sorry.
Yes, it's a lot of information, but a lot of tips as well to gain, and then it's motivating that these are already in front of you. The information, it's up to you. The statistics are even there, but yes, it shouldn't be you shouldn't be intimidated or scared with those numbers, because those are just representations of how PAP2 is growing in number. And of course, the success rate is growing as well. So mind these dates and put them in your calendar if you're already in GAMP, because the prerequisite of PAP2 is GAMP. After you've passed it, as you know, GAMP is there for you to guide you with writing your statement of experiences, your SOEs. Use that, utilize that time, and after that, apply or enroll to POP2. And our POP2, led by Paul, will be there for you, and the whole POP2 team, and myself included. We look forward to having you. This is
Yes.
self-proclaimed that I'm now part of the POP2 team, guys. So, yes, we look forward to having you there. And let's grow together and then pass APC. And we're happy to be part of your APC journey. Go ahead, Anthea.
And to add on, AJ and Sir Paul, for our candidates, if you have already completed GAMP, please take note the validity of your case study, because some of them like skip it for years and then attend PAMP later on. That's why they are unable to proceed with the grand mock, because they don't have a valid case study by then. So it's a good thing that the progression is continuous. So when you finish GAMP, instantly the next POP2 session will register your name and express your interest, so that it there will be no like too big gap. The gap will be like just enough for you to apply or to have your grand mark and also submit your final write-ups that is still valid. So one thing always be mindful is that it's difficult to think of a case study, so if you have, go for the APC as well.
Correct, Antea. And remember, the structured training is taking a little more time for you from P3T to reaching up to. We have noticed that there are candidates or participants that are starting to forget the basics. So when you start to forget level one, that's an issue because assessors sometimes are very particular with the keywords. So
Mm.
do not waste time in your pursuing your APC journey, but also, as I mentioned, make sure that you need to also be realistic with yourself, that if you cannot put the dedication needed, you need to plan properly. But it's all in the perfect time for you to the requirements, what is how you can meet with it. So just be realistic with your expectations so that you don't end up failing.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for that, Paul. And also, this goes to our viewers who are undertaking a P3T at the moment. This is something to look forward to. P3T is just the start of your career journey. So we look forward to, and we are encouraging you to take the step and challenge yourselves further. Yeah. So just a quick note, and to thank these people who are staying and watching us live. Thank you, Vanessa, for tuning in. Thank you, Antoinette, and everyone who are giving their comments and then expressing their thoughts as well. We have Louis from Brunei as well. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching and tuning in. So I think this is we're about to reach the end of the line or the end of our patch session. But before that, of course, we have this little icing on the cake for all of you, which is the presentation of Paul's case study way back when he was taking his own APC. Okay, take it away.
Okay, so this is a little bit nostalgic for me. This was the case study that I presented during my APC in with RICS. So what you are seeing right now is the exact slides that I've used, although this is on a flip chart, that I've used to present my case study in my assessment. So you would see, yeah, okay, I've seen it. You would see that the date there is 2019 November, and this was held at the Sofitel in Dubai. Okay, so I'll just click through. So the title of my case study is about freshwater versus seawater hydro test. It's about a late change in project specification. So it's a little bit technical, but I will try to give a little brief or a little background in the study. So my first slide was to have an introduction. So as you present your case study, it's always best to make it concise and have your summarized presentation here. It is expected that the assessor already have read your work, and what you're highlighting here are key information or information that are not well addressed in your case study that you want to highlight. So it's always, let's say, recommended or suggested that you put your introduction with the basics. So our contract type is a lump sum contract. The contract value is around 150 million USD. But that is just an award. And a little bit of scope of work, which is EPC or engineering procurement construction of several storage, different type of storage tanks. So I will, because this is very technical, I decided also in the next coming slides to have a little bit of uh, uh, visualization on what are we talking about. So if you're presenting something that is too technical, I think it's worth to do the same. So I highlighted the location, a little bit of plot plan, and then it's always good to in RICS to explain what is your role and where you fall into the structure. So the contract structure is we have the owner, we have the main contractor, and then we are the specialized contractor for storage tanks. So highlighting that this is my firm and this is our client. So my role at that time was a contract administrator, the lead one for the specialized contractor. So the next few slides that I've presented are, just visualization. So the assessor would have an appreciation of what I'm talking about. So these are the tanks that we've built. So from bottom till up, even from design stage, I was engaged in the project. So I know every bits and pieces. I've been up and down this tank. So uh, these are, it's also good and it might give an impression to your assessor if you put like sources, you properly cite or make good references. One thing that I learned from my postgraduate studies, so you do as much to impress your assessor. So we also have what we are calling like spheres. So these are, ball storage that is in the picture. Different types of product are stored because of its having high pressure. That's why they are having a spherical container. And then we have something what we call as API 650 or atmospheric tanks, which is not pressurized. It's just usual storage tanks that you would see containing either firewater, methanol, sludges, etc. The different ranges of product line. So after presenting to the assessor what I was talking about, what are these tanks, etc., my next slide is about the key challenges. So just to give a little bit of a background in the case study, the tanks are required to be tested using what we call the process of hydro testing. Some of you probably will have heard about hydro testing on piping, but storage tanks are also tested using hydrostatic tests. So the process is putting in water into the tank up to a certain level to check whether there is force, whether there's leakage, or second, where there is subsidence in the foundation. So if the water is carrying weight, and then it simulates also the weight of the product. So it is filled with water and it stays there for a certain amount of time, and they observe whether there is any uh, impact on the ground, if there is any subsidence, if there is any settlement. So that's how hydrotest works. Originally, the contract is allowing us to use seawater. Seawater is very close by to the site. That's why I have my, let's see, I have my plot plan here. This is the site. This is the tanks. Seawater is just very close. we were planning to conduct seawater hydro tests, and at sometime later in the project, when we started talking about preparing, because you need to build the tank first and then testing is at the later stage, and then they said that the owner did not approve the use of seawater. We have to end up with fresh water. So the challenge here, yeah, you can do fresh water, but the challenge is you are in Oman, you are in a desert country. Fresh water is not as easy to get. So the something that will also complicate the things is that the only fresh water supplier in that area can only provide us with a flow rate of 25 cubic meter per hour, as compared to what was original planned of 250. It's more than 10 times. It will require, if the schedule here is, there will be significant schedule delay. And the challenge also is with this flow rate, talking about delay, is that you don't have enough time to complete the tank if you end up with this. So how can we go around the issue? That's the issue here. How can we go around the problem of having to use fresh water when it's not allowed by the client, while keeping the schedule, and of course trying to minimize costs and keeping quality, the famous triangle: cost, quality, time. So these are the considerations that I made for options. So first one is, at first, we would just insist that the client issue the fresh water. They change the specification. It's not our problem. It's your problem. Then you do the issuing or supplying of the water. It should not be in our risk because you change it. We don't want to deal with this problem. And that will entail all other different issues if we go for having them to supply it. Second option here is to support the client but without taking any risk. Meaning, in this option is, okay, we will help you with the fresh water, but if the schedule gets delayed, you will not impose LDs. If the schedule gets delayed, you would recognize as change order for prolongation costs, etc. So we support you, but we don't want any risk at all. And then the third option is more of a combined mutual effort of a give and take. So this is talking a lot of details, finding ways on how you can address and overcome the issue. As you will see, the options that I presented in my slides here are very general, generic, considering that, again, the expectation is that they already have read my case study. This is not the time, I'm just giving it as my own view and my advice as one who already completed this. This is not the time to bombard them or to you know, overwhelm them with information. I try to keep it as simple as possible without losing the context. So that's my way of suggesting when you also do your slides. Okay, so now I presented the three options. What would be my next slide? So I've devised a way to present it in a SWOT analysis form. So this would allow me to do a quick explanation that will highlight the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. At least that would also trying to impress the assessor that I'm familiar with all this, risk analysis, blah blah blah, that I can use it as a tool in my presentation. So here, the first one, option one, strengths is that the root cause is clearly attributed to the client. So that's our strength. We can rely on that information that you caused the changes. So we have, this strong entitlement for change, and we have the right to say, no, it's your change, you caused it. And then it is a clear black and white change. So no questions asked, you change it. Originally, this was contracted. So change in specification or change in basis of design. However, the weakness there is that if we tell them you deliver us the water, we will lose control over their action. They can take all the time they need to provide us the water. There is no control for us to, you know, if they say, okay, then we'll just give you one truck a day or whatever. And They might have schedule in their float for us, we don't have, and that might even cost us more. So that's the weakness of this one. But the opportunities here is that all the burden will be transferred to the client because they will now be supplying. And then opportunities also that there will be no cost impact for us because they will be supplying. How the cost to source this water is not a joke in Middle Eastern place. But the threat is that there will be delay and you will have prolongation costs and claim disputes. You will have costs you will claim to them because they delay, and you know for a fact that clients will always say no, 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 even it's clear cut change. So in this presentation, I've added some scoring here, like visual disadvantage, advantage, etc. And I would attribute this to the comment given to me by Sir Butch Magramo when he did my mock interview. So see how it's developed by people contributing to your case study. So he suggested a little bit of putting this, so that I think also really helped. So going to the next option, supporting the client without risk. So the strength is that, again, still it's a change order. There will be enough time for us to look for alternative source, but we will ask for indemnity against damages penalties. The weaknesses is with us supporting them, we will be buying or we will be sourcing the water. So we will look for the suppliers. We will try to check the market, but the chance of finding alternate source is really low. That's a weakness, and it will have cost impact with the client that is high, and they might even say later that okay, proceed, but they will not pay the cost for the change order. So that's the weakness here. Opportunities, there is little to no cost because we will pass on the cost, but again, that is a threat of not getting paid. So there are other um, points to consider that I place here, which again tried to demonstrate my knowledge in contract practice, contract management, risk management. It's highlighting to the assessor. And again, I have the score. But the last one here is give and take. So a little bit more on the option three is that this option is to discuss with the client on ways on how to get the water on time. We were able to identify that the client have water pits in the plant, canals. They've got storage for water runoff, rain, etc. They got big water, like big swimming pools, where wastewater, different types of liquid to be stored. So we made an agreement with them that they accelerate the completion of those pits ahead of our requirement, so we can start filling in the water using the small flow rate from the supplier. So while we are waiting for our tanks to be completed, there is an agreement that they will start filling those. And by the time that we are ready to use the water for the tank, there will be enough water. However, those pits are not enough in volume. As I mentioned here, give and take. We also agreed to expedite or to accelerate some of our other storage tanks, because you see in the scope of work here, the biggest critical path or the critical path is the largest tank, which is this. It takes a lot of volume. So we agreed to accelerate some of these miscellaneous tanks so that we can also store water in preparation for the biggest tank to be tested. And that ended up with option three as being the one taken, and we were able to mutually and without dispute to work together. And there are also contractual aspects that I've explained in the case study. So there will be no back charges, there will be no change for extension of time. Ultimately, we save water. We did not fill and dump. We were able to complete the project on time. We were able to minimize the costs. So it's a whole combination of benefits. So at the end of my presentation, I've highlighted achievements. So what is is expected in the presentation or case studies, you try to establish as much competencies in your write-up. So I have shown here why I consider I've demonstrated client care, engineering science, etc. So sustainability, we were able to save 155 cubic meters of fresh water from being dumped and wasted. So try to highlight all this in a high level summary that will also give an impression to the assessor that, oh, actually this candidate is able to understand risk management, able to understand negotiation, blah blah blah. So I think that is the last slide, and I hope you learn something in my case study presentation.
Okay, that was. I think I would like to clap. No, you deserve like all the praises, and of course, we're very privileged to have this presentation of your case study, not just on how PAP2 works, but your case study is not just an icing of the cake, but it 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 says everything as to what we need to expect and what we need to do in our own APC. Actually, presenting the achievements, the last slide eh,
Mm,
is the icing on the cake, because I think that that's how we have put it in our case study. In our submission in the form, you need to highlight the competencies that you've experienced or you have enhanced with your APC or with your case study, and it really helps. So that's a very good tip that we've gained with your presentation, right? And there.
mhm. Happy to share that to everyone.
Yes, thanks a lot. Time flies so fast. Now it's already 9:42 in the evening here in Auckland. I think in Singapore it's -5. Yeah, 4.
It's
Oh, I
4:42
think
p.m.
we're
now.
4:42 p.m.
Yeah,
And
same as
in
Manila.
Dubai it's nearly lunch, is it?
Yeah, 12, actually 12:43.
Just
12:43.
right
So
for
it's
lunch.
almost. Thank you very much for sharing not just the morning tea, but even
Yeah.
lunchtime with the patch here, Paul. We really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the effort that you have given us, not just the time, but imagine sharing or making this concise presentation for POP2. We really, really appreciate it. It's something that our viewers can even look back to and then refer to if they're as they pursue POP2. I don't want to say if they pursue. I would like to say that as you pursue
Yes.
POP2 and PICQS APC. So with that, we wrap our patch of 14th patch session. Is there any last words or a few words to our viewers or to our members and non-members alike? Paul?
I think to wrap it up, always know that we here in POP2 committee or POP2, the group that we have, is always ready to help you with your APC journey. We do the best, time permitting and all. We always want to provide you the best that we can offer in terms of advice and training. And my advice to people doing their APC is, believe in yourself. At the same time, you need to put dedication and always appreciate, or there's always people ready to help you, even though you think that you are alone. Um, a lot of people are thinking that I cannot approach this guy, that guy, but do not underestimate or do not you know some people think that ay si ay mataray to hindi ko ganyan, parang ganyan. Do not judge your the members, our committee. Medyo nakakahiya, pero you just have to approach us, and we are always there to welcome you with open arms na okay, we want to help and we will give you this. So PICQS is there, our team is there to support you and help you in your career, in your in your APC journey. Just let us, open, and we will be there to help you.
Yes, I totally agree
Thank
with
you.
Sir
Thank you very
Paul,
much.
especially the part that I'm mataray.
No, it's just for example, Antea.
No, but I'm really mataray. So, okay, but really, the help of Sir Paul as being the head of POP2, I've been part, and since I've been, I joined POP2 and then been the one of the trainers of POP2. I've seen how it progress, how it like it develops over time, and POP 2 is just very close to the EPC, the interview itself. It's very close. It's almost the last step. It's before you actually finalize your write-ups. And uh before this, there is still some more structured trainings. We have P3T, POP 1, we have GOMP, like what Sir Paul have shared earlier, that do not forget of the past steps in the structured trainings. And I encourage everyone, do not be discouraged if there are like, if you feel like disheartened because you feel that you are not prepared. That's why you are attending structured trainings. It is for us to guide you through the journey and be part of your journey. And at the end, it's like on you how you will like be passionate, be committed on pursuing uh, APC and becoming a chartered or certified quantity surveyor. So the structure itself is well, prepared, studied, and trainers are always there giving also their times and effort to share their knowledge and experiences to ensure that you'll be more than qualified when you sit not just on the grand mock but on the APC, not just on PICQS, if you want to also like try and or like pursue another professional bodies, right? So I encourage everyone. We've been sharing these not just on Patch, in Ian, on every CPD to attend structured trainings that is available for us. And currently, we are all Filipinos as well. Trainers are all Filipinos. It's so easy to like to communicate as well if you have issues, concerns, and don't feel bad if you are like called off by one of the trainers. It's for you. It's part of the training. It's part of the
Yeah,
journey. I also experienced the same, that I was like I felt offended or I felt discouraged, but you do not stop because you don't find excuses for you to continue until you achieve what you are aiming for. That's why you have your career plan. So start your career plan with attending structured trainings.
correct.
Register for P3T. If you're already on GAM, please register for POP2 and just continue the journey all through the end. We are here for you to support, to be your support.
Yes, thank you very much for that as well, Thea. Before we do a last and words for our viewers, let me share a few comments from our live in the chat box. We have Emerson Serrato, our national treasurer. Thank you very much for tuning in and staying with us. Thanks, Paul, AJ, and Thea. And also we have our Chair Julie. Thank you, Paul, for sharing your case study. I am certain many will get tips on this. Definitely, Chair, and our viewers can also go back a few minutes from or the entire interview itself, because it is fully packed with information on how we can proceed with POP2, what is the POP2 process, and of course the case study. And thank you from Mark Lawrence de Guzman. Thank you, Sir Paul. Sterling presentations. Thank you very much. And Chair Julie, again, for all the PICQS APC candidates, I encourage you to reach out to POP Global Committee. This program will really help you in your APC journey. So this is the culminating program in our 4th year structured training program. Yes, indeed, I couldn't agree more. So we have P3T, POP1, GAMP, and POP2, and we are here for you to share more information. Whatever you need, you just need to ask and you shall receive. Okay, so just send us a message or send us a private message or send
Yeah.
we are available in Facebook, LinkedIn, and now we have YouTube for Patch. You can go back and go through the past videos as well. The case studies are being presented there, so you can have overviews, tips, and then also it will help you and give you more CPD
Yeah.
Okay, so for patch, we have
Yes.
1 hour CPD for every patch session that you can record it in your membership validation, which is also very important. Again,
And please,
we invite, go ahead, Taya.
sorry. And we already relaunched our website, AJ and Sir Paul. So please check out for those who are not yet members. Log into our website, PICQS.org. Or if you're already a member, reach out to your chapter presidents. You will be guided. We can connect you to the POP committee, PAP committee, or the structured training committee.
Okay, thank you very much. And not just for tuning in, please do like, share, and subscribe the YouTube channel Patch with PICQS and browse through the videos there for some more tips. Let us know and give us some comments on what you think you would like to see more from Patch or from other modules that we have. Again, stay tuned for the events and also our global CPDs. We will be sharing more face-to-face CPDs in the coming months. So yes, everything is for you so that you will have more CPDs, go with the membership validation, go through structured trainings. It's all laid down for you. All you have to do is access them and maximize your benefits as members of PICQS. And the doors are open also for volunteers. Please do approach us and we are all welcome to have you on board. Okay. And for that, we say thank you and have a nice weekend, everyone. Thank you very much.
See you on our next time. Thank you, Sir Paul and AJ.
Thank you, Paul. And see you in our next patch session. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Would you like to know more about PICQS APC from the lens of an assessor and mentor? Join your hosts AJ Paredes and Anthea Valdez as they give you the exclusive interview with PICQS Global Committee Head, Mr. Paul Anderson Vera. He will share with us not just what assessors and mentors do through the process, but also his own APC journey. All these and more on Saturday, 16th March, 3 p.m. Manila time. See you!